Promisq old favorite his as well. And there's the Taliyah. Now that's a champion that's also been occupying the ban column very heavily. 100% win rate when it actually does get picked, so it makes sense for Vitality to take it away. And H2K immediately lock in the Swain.
Ooh, I like the Swain, especially if it was on Team Vitality's side. I know in Week 3 they brought out the Swain Pyke bottom lane, which was absolutely brutal CC lockdown, and I'd love to see Promisq get his first chance to play that Pyke for himself, but there's still a lot of flexibility in that first pick for H2K.
Yeah, and for H2K, they haven't actually done a lot of mage bot lanes. There's been a couple. We saw Karma Game, we saw the Ziggs come out for Sheriff, but just not on the level that a lot of other bot laners have been experimenting with. As we go over to Vitality, they lock in the Braum.
Braum, what are we going to see it with? Because, you know, there's always that question. Does it funnel? Will that happen? Will that be the strategy?
I just don't think it's Gilius champion.
Gilius
cannot
is
see
not
him
going to
playing
play
Braum.
a Braum. That's just not going to happen, is it?
No.
He's going to
play Trundle. Okay.
That's a better one.
That's going to get locked in. All right, so we got ourselves a pretty beefy frontline Vitality. I think they just want a team fight. These guys, they know exactly what they're good at. They know their win conditions, and we'll see if H2K has an answer for that last couple of picks on Phase 1 of this pick and ban.
And again, it'll be important to figure out what they can do to bolster up Selfie in this middle lane.
Ooh.
I do like the Kindred. We saw this a few times back in Week 3, popped up in Rift Rivals as well. We have seen it directly as a counter against the Trundle because of its ability to shred down a beefy front line and not give any stats for him to steal over.
Very true. Now let's see what H2K round this one out with. They've hovered the Braum for a little, or the Brand, excuse me, for a little while. Braum on the other side for Vitality. 6 seconds still ticking for H2K. The Mundo has been left up and available. It will get locked in for Smittyj. Gets a chance to play that. This is actually the first time he's played a champion more than once this split.
Yeah, he's been all unique all the time up until now. Curious to see, does Cabochard go for the Darius? Because that has been a pick that he has liked up against the Mundo, its ability to shred the tank in the top lane. But there's a lot of different options I feel like for him to still go for, and 2 bans in the next rotation aren't enough to make it so Team Vitality focus him early on.
Instead, they decide to opt into the Lucian. Now, if you look at any other team, you look at this and you still think, hey, you can funnel this. We saw this happen. G2 managed to pull this one off with the Lucian, but still a very powerful choice even for that bottom lane pick. And now we enter the next phase of bans. Fiddlesticks off the board.
Yeah, the Lucian is especially interesting because Attila has played only 1 marksman so far this split, and that was the Ezreal, of course, a few weeks ago. Now his hand on the Lucian. Lucian Braum is very much an aggressive 2 versus 2 down in the bottom lane. Attila is definitely going to be looking to assert a little bit of dominance over the other rookie AD carry from last split that he was always trying to overcome.
It's definitely a tale of the 2 carries and how the directions have gone very differently this split, especially for H2K. Still looking for some answers. That 0-6. Now the Darius is banned away, so Cabochard won't get a chance for the counter pick up towards the top, at least not with that champion. And also Yasuo is removed.
Looking at that Fiddlesticks ban as well, because that has been something that Fiddlesticks plus Mage or Fiddle plus Heimerdinger, they can really make it difficult for aggressive 2 versus 2s in the bottom lane, like the Lucian and the Braum, to make those plays happen for themselves. So Vitality trying to take away some of the champs that counteract their own, and now I want to see them hold that mid lane pick for themselves. They know what Selfie, or rather Smittyj, is going to be playing in the top lane on that Mundo. They can get the counter for Cabo right here.
Well, let's see. There's been a couple of bans already thrown his way. It's not just the Darius, the Gnar as well. What will Cabochard take? And now this is a champion you have had your eye on since this patch. Gragas, a couple of buffs coming his way. Talk to me about this champ then, Ender.
So technically it's still flexible between Trundle and the top lane, even though I expect it to be the Trundle out of the jungle. But I want to see it to be a Gragas jungle, because I think Gragas against Kindred has some pretty good tools like the cast to knock her out of that ultimate, and Trundle being able to steal away stats from a Mundo in lane could be pretty potent.
All right, now this is something I've also been seeing a little bit more of.
Yeah.
The Talon gets locked in for Selfie. Now that is a champion with a lot of upside, and there's been some unique strategies around him as well.
Yeah, we expect to see Selfie playing this with Smite actually in the mid lane to enable him to take a camp at level 1 and also hit that level 2, but Jiizuke is going to be doing the exact same thing. He has played this Ekko before back in Spring Split, and it also looks like he's going to be taking the Smite to make use of that same exact exploit.
That'll make sure that they are able to keep up 1-on-1 together in the farm game early on. So we'll see how it goes between Jiizuke and Selfie. Now, obviously Vitality's focus the last couple of weeks had shifted away from Jiizuke. It was more about Attila getting the damage in, but going back to this Ekko pick, I feel like they're going to be dipping a little bit more into the mid lane, focusing on the Italian Stallion.
I mean, when you have 2 assassin picks in the mid lane melee champions, of course, this means so much, because not only does the individual 1 versus 1 matter in the mid lane, but also these champions are ones that want to go into a side lane later on, split push, look for picks themselves. Who can they find? Who can they blow up instantly? And whoever has the advantage is going to be able to just roam around the map as much as they want.
So that's pretty hype, but also the bottom laners have kind of traded their roles a little bit. Like, it was Sheriff who was going for these AD carry champions, the traditional marksman more than anything else. Now it's swapped around. Attila's taking it, and Sheriff finds himself on the Swain, paired up with the Tahm Kench from Promisq. I feel like both these lineups are actually looking pretty good.
Yeah, I really like seeing the bottom lanes continue to explore different options, because showing that level of flexibility is very, very important in the meta like we have here. Being able to, switch it up and pick a Swain when your mid laner wants to play an AD champion like the Talon means so much here for H2K.
All right, we'll see if it's going to be enough to take down Vitality. It's clearly going to be the odds stacked against them. 0-6 for H2K, trying to avoid the dreaded 0-7, the panic button. But up against them is a Team Vitality that is honestly living up to their name. These guys are full of life, full of pep, and they want to stack another win on the board. This is one of those matches that you are absolutely expected to dominate in, but the matchup seems very similar in terms of champion picks. Let's see if our win conditions hold true. Does Shook stay in the mid lane this game?
I think you have to. Mid lane has to be the focus for both of these teams. And of course, if you're jumping into the game now, you see a Talon with Smite, you see an Ekko with Smite, and you're like, what the heck is going on right there? Well, both of these players are going to be starting with the Hunter's Talisman. That gives them the bonus experience when clearing those jungle camps. So they'll start on the Raptors, more than likely, clear those away for the fast level 2, which usually gives you an advantage over your lane opponent, but now they're just going to be going even.
Yeah, as long as they match each other. So the mid lane will be really exciting to watch, but I do want to keep my eye also on the bottom because of the champion picks that Sheriff and Attila have gone, very different directions. A lot of protection between those supports too. You see a little bit more like traditional kind of champions, and also we've got the Gragas top lane. We didn't really talk about it since we were expecting, or at least you were hoping, perhaps, for the Gragas to be in the jungle, but they did opt into putting it top as well.
Well, before that happens, Vitality are going to try to interrupt, I feel like, this Raptor camp take from Selfie, so they're coming in with 4 members.
Gilius should be seeing Promisq. Now he knows exactly what is happening right now. So the start off for Selfie, and the interrupt is in full effect. We got ourselves a level 1 here, Ender. Let's see if Vitality can find anything. They get rooted up 2-man, but Selfie is actually forced back. He gets procced by the Winter's Bite. The red's going down there. Jiizuke gets a smite off on the big Raptor, and Vitality just owning H2K's jungle.
Yeah, Gilius is down below 50% now, but should be able to smite this way in the brush. They just got to commit for it.
No aggro juggle just yet, down to 777. Hold on, they're one backing away from this one. Here comes Jiizuke back in once again. Forcing the flash out is Jactroll. Gilius picks this up. Vitality come out massively ahead.
That is so huge for Vitality. 2 level 2 members. Selfie and Shook going to be put so far behind, and that just ruins the mid lane matchup as Gilius, level 2, walks straight through mid lane, says, Selfie, get out of here. This is Jiizuke's mid, and he's going to go up topside and try to take away that mark from the Kindred.
All right, so Gilius and the rest of Vitality already off to a flying start here, trying to keep H2K down, and this is starting to be a little bit rough, even though we're only 2 minutes into this game, Ender. H2K, we already knew it was going to be a difficult mountain to climb, but now they're going to have to let the pace be dictated by Vitality.
Well, when we say that the mid lane matchup means so much, to have it thrown out of proportion this early on really just puts a wrench in the plans here from H2K, because Jiizuke has that earlier level 3, has the shove advantage, and now a Kindred without a red buff is not much of a threat when it comes to early game ganking or early game dueling, which means that Gilius should be able to just clear away his jungle and continue supporting Jiizuke's push in this middle lane.
It seems why the reason they wanted to keep Gilius on that Trundle pickup. Now Sheriff does pull the Braum back in. That's not who you want down in the bottom lane. Still Vitality. Solid gold lead start for them in this early game. And here we go, another gank. It's a level 3. Gilius finding help with Cabochard onto Smittyj. This is pre-6 Mundo. It's a lot easier to kill than before he has his ultimate. Smittyj is going down. That's first blood.
Wow, Smittyj knew he couldn't flash, because the second he does, a pillar will come up. That Gragas in the top lane, showing it can set up these ganks very, very well with the body slam, rather.
It's been a while since we've seen him on the Rift, so we gotta bust out our names again once more. Let's take a look, though, at the changes that did hit Gragas on this latest patch.
Yeah, the big one here, the cooldown reduction on Drunken Rage, meaning that he can access his passive and cast that more to heal up in lane. Sustain is a very big deal. And also that extra bit of auto attack range, I don't feel like means the end of the world, but it's a nice little feels-good change for the champion.
Yeah, just a little more. And it's also not going to hurt that he's got himself a kill on the Mundo, so Smittyj is going to have a little bit of a rough start in this one. Meanwhile, down to the bottom side, Attila and Jactroll have already pushed Sheriff and Promisq back, so The question is, where are H2K going to be able to find those answers? We're still looking to Selfie in the mid lane, but he's set behind on farm too.
It's going to be very difficult. Right now, H2K, I feel like, are a bit more in damage control mode because they're down 1,000 gold already at just 4 minutes off of that first blood. And of course, the CS lead's really starting to open up in both the mid lane and the bottom lane. It shows that Vitality having the counter picks to put Jiizuke in a position to do well for himself and this Lucian Braum are really getting them out to this early lead.
Yeah, it's very smart, proactive play from Vitality. This is a team that clearly was, doing their homework, keeping up on not only the type of champion picks and the type of compositions you wanted to be building on 8.13, but also just making the plays early. And speaking of, Gilius wrapping around the side. Here's Sheriff and Promisq. They realize a little late that there may be something coming for him. Promisq left for dead. The gray health will not save you for long, my friend. Attila, one more shot. Tongue licking, doesn't matter. He takes the kill.
Yeah, he put down the Ignite to try and trade back there onto Attila, but it just doesn't work out in the end. You can just see there's not many wards on the map for H2K. Just put down a control ward to help out Selfie in the mid lane, but Sheriff and Promisq are pushing up there without the support of Vision or their jungler.
All right, teleport coming back up for Cabochard here. It's level 5 versus level 5. Once the ultimates come in, things are going to get a little spicier, of course, but Smittyj already set very far behind. Might need a little bit of help. Shook waiting in the wings up towards the top. Let's see if Cabochard goes a little too far forward. He's still holding on to that flash. Might need it in just a minute. Body slam. Does dodge the cleaver. Let's see if he's able to get away. Under tower. Half health, but he sticks it out.
He's fine. It's very hard to gank a Gragas with that body slam because he'll so rarely actually commit forward with that spell in lane, which means that he's got to be shoving up pretty far if you're going to make anything happen. Shook, I do like the attempt coming out of him, but yet to find something that works out so far in this early game.
Absolutely. So teleport coming back in on the bottom side, of course. Pretty standard fare for bot laners to be taking that summoner spell as of late. And speaking of comparing the bot laners, let's talk a little bit about it because Sheriff has had a... Oh, you know what? Let's wait a minute because Selfie might be dead. Okay, never mind. False alarm. When you have assassins in the mid lane, you're never sure if anything's actually going to happen because Gilius comes in, pops the pillar up. That's a level 6 Selfie. He's going to want to parkour pretty soon, but it's not happening just yet.
Double red smite from the mid lane jungle 2v2 from Vitality as well. Definitely going to have some early damage right there, but Selfie himself picked up that Tiamat. That makes it very difficult to do anything against him in that mid lane because he can clear away those waves and then get the parkour on, as you were mentioning, as Gilius makes another visit up top.
Yeah, Smittyj could be in some trouble here. He's got level 6 this time, but the pillar comes up, and I don't know if the ukulele beats the club in that situation. Flash works, though.
Yeah, Flash definitely beats the club. Right there from Gilius. Of course, Cabochard always threatening the body slam flash. That's something we haven't seen in a while since Gragas had his heyday back in the jungle in 2017. But of course, you have to preemptively flash away from that. Otherwise, Cabochard very easily could have redirected his own flash to land the CC onto Smittyj.
Man, heyday is one way to put it. I remember every single game. That guy was perma-picked. But let's go back to the point I wanted to talk about, which was in the bottom lane. Sheriff has had a really, really rough start this split. And I feel like a lot of it comes down to it's just not a meta that suits him.
Yeah, I mean, you look at this guy, and last split it was all these marksmen stepping up in the mid to late game, having a great performance when it came to team fights. But this split, it has not been the same thing. He's really struggled in lane. His team has not been able to rely on him as much. So seeing him shift into a mage like the Swain is a promising sign from him, at least that he's willing to go for these more new age picks.
Well, it's definitely refreshing to see him make those changes. But on the other hand, the guy he's up against is a little bit rougher. We might have to pull out of this one in just a minute because Gilius is looking to go in on Smittyj. But Attila has been a fantastic player for his team. He's not the only one, though. Cabochard and Gilius double timing. Let's see if they get Smittyj down. That heal, it's not quite enough. And flashing forward is Gilius with a club to the head. Picks up the kill. Meanwhile, Jiizuke trying to run away from Selfie. The assassin matchup knows no lane. It just keeps on going. Flashing forward. There's the parkour. Right inside the parallel convergence. Selfie can't quite close it out.
Wow, Jiizuke with the predict right there is bot lane.
Oh man, this action doesn't end here. Jactroll and Attila, they're fired on under tower, and Shooky nearly gets the kill, but there's the calling. He's pulled back in by Sheriff, who takes him down with the hand of death. And H2K finally find a kill on the board.
That was beautiful, right on the very edge, and Shook expertly done there to tank up the turret there with the Lamb's Respite, but they lose the turret in the top lane. Even though they do get that one kill, it's still heavily advantage towards Vitality.
Yeah, the gold lead's definitely getting out of control here. 2008 minutes is nothing to sneeze at, but you do got to give credit where it's due. H2K found some way to make something happen. It wasn't in the mid lane as we were expecting, but Selfie was chasing Jiizuke away, so, props to him for coming back after what was a disastrous start. by getting forced out of his own jungle.
Yeah, it's definitely started to look a bit better for him. The CS has evened up a bit there. This is a replay of what happened down in the bottom lane. Shook is level 6 with the red buff, and it's Attila committing forward. That's the fatal mistake there from Vitality. Well, actually, look, what is the CC that Sheriff is able to pull off on the end? He lands the E, never move, get right back here. They're going to take him down.
Absolutely. Well, you never move in the direction you want to, at the very least. So,
you yanked the wrong way, man.
Yeah, happens. Shook's been able to catch a little bit back up on the experience train as well, so despite the fact that they're still falling far behind, H2K are trying to make something happen, and they absolutely need to. This is a team that hasn't been able to find a win yet in the split. The dubious honor. You really don't want to go halfway through without being able to pick anything up.
Yeah, and it's looking especially rough for Smittyj in the top lane, down almost 20 CS now, but I'm looking at the items already because we're 9 minutes in. Cabochard has the completed Iceborne Gauntlet against a Kindle gem.
And a stopwatch, don't forget the stopwatch.
He gets the stopwatch for free,
He can tell how far behind he is.
If only he could turn back time.
Yeah, well, at least he can stop it for a few seconds. And Gilius just takes away some jungle.
No, Gilius missed it. He smote early, and Selfie got it.
Oh, I forgot. I'm just,
mid laners have smite now, Pyra.
Yeah, my bad. All right, well, at the very least, H2K are going for a Rift Herald. And it looks like the Cabochard hasn't actually seen this one. And Vitality 3-manning on the Cloud Drake. So it is just a couple of trades of objectives for the time being.
Yeah, I think this is 100% favoring H2K, though, because if they can get this Herald and actually get some gold back with the turret, that is vastly going to outweigh the stats you get, the movement speed from that Cloud Drake, because as we've been saying for the last 10 minutes, they're a bit in damage control already from that level 1, and they need to even up the score a tad.
On the plus side, H2K are very used to playing in damage control mode, so we'll see if they're able to bring it all back into this game. We're 10 minutes in. Vitality trying to accelerate the pace now. They'd stop for just a second, but now they have 4 members towards the bottom side, firing down the tower. Sheriff might have caught Jiizuke. Let's see if it's going to be enough. There's the tongue licking, the never move, pulls him back. Sheriff's getting him down to half health. Here comes the Talon. We're going to see some parkour. Selfie? No. Moves away from the Time Winder.
Yeah, but H2K do enough to stop their turret in the bottom lane from falling down. I have to feel like that was a bit of an overcommitment there from Vitality, looking for perhaps a kill there onto Sheriff instead of easily taking down that turret. But that tower's still very, very low and likely to fall in the near future.
Fits the instinct and the playstyle we've seen out of Vitality. They try to group up, force the objectives, force the fight if they can't get the objective. But this time H2K is able to stymie them. Jiizuke back into the mid lane. And it's actually dead even in the farm in there, but of course, as you pointed out, the Mundo 20 CS behind, the Swain 20 CS behind, the Lucian now has his Blade of the Rune King already built up, so Vitality are gearing up for a powerful mid-game spike.
Yeah, and right now they're gearing up for a gank in the mid lane with Cabo.
Okay, he goes in, doesn't get the body slam, but he does get a barrel onto Selfie, and it's enough to scare him away from his tower. Shook can't get in and defend. With the wave of minions, this is going to be another tower. Vitality just muscle in and take what they want.
Here's the thing, though. Vitality just group up as 4 members and go for every single turret they can. And H2K, apart from some control wards on the top side of the map, don't have that deep vision to actually tell them what's going on. So they're split up, farming all of their lanes, and they don't realize that Vitality are going straight down the middle lane.
It does seem like H2K are a couple of steps behind, because I would have given them some kudos if Vitality had still been constantly trying to gank the Mundo. But he's already died twice. He's, got his flashback up at this point. What are those control wards really doing for you at this point? You want to have them in other places in the map.
Right, it was because H2K were playing for that Rift Herald on the top side, and now they're trying to make a play down bottom with the Tahm Kench, but not going to happen, is it?
Didn't have anybody with him this time, so Promisq spends the Abyssal Voyage, doesn't even get the tongue lash on that one. Now Jactroll wants to go offensive. Really quick knockup. I don't know if he and Attila were on the same page there. Here comes the calling a little bit too late, but meanwhile Shook getting fired down in the pit. Going to have to force his flash out. Gilius asserting his dominance. Meanwhile, though, Cabochard comes in for the flank, and that is the Gragas power barrel, and it looks like Sheriff's trying to make amends for the earlier stages of the game here as he pushes back in his ultimate form, but still, Gilius, Attila, Jactroll all forcing him back here. Selfie goes forward onto Jactroll, but he goes golden, and it looks like Gilius is still making moves. Everyone's pressing those stopwatches, but they cannot turn back time, and that Trundle is on a roll right now. Double kill for Gilius, and Vitality come out ahead once more.
And Jiizuke wasn't even there at the start of that fight. It was all Gilius first, forcing the flash out of Shook, then coming over the wall himself, and that might have been the biggest whopper of a Tiamat I've ever seen for the double kill.
Yeah, you proc the Tiamat and you think, okay, you're going to melt the minion wave, but apparently it works on champions too.
Apparently, they're just so low, and this is what we've seen from Vitality time and time again, though, grouping up and forcing fights around this mid-game, and it's looking very good for them so far.
Yeah, and well, as Selfie goes in on Jiizuke once more to realize he doesn't really want it after the rake, It does seem like Vitality are that team that's just a little quicker to adapt to things in-game and also just in general with how the game has changed. Like taking this Smite mid choice. Selfie's obviously done the same thing, but Selfie didn't actually complete the jungle item, whereas Jiizuke actually already has it done himself. So talk to me about like the pros and cons of why you want to take this item aside from just the Smite.
Well, for mages in the mid lane, we're looking at what Ekko on this one is. Jiizuke is potentially looking right there, but we have a little bit of time. It got some buffs, it got some more AP added on towards that item, and all around it does have that Luden's Ekko effect that gives you a little bit of extra wave clear in the mid lane, helps out Ekko trying to instantly clear away those waves, whereas Selfie needs the flat penetration, he needs that lethality to make it happen as Rift Herald is dropped.
Speaking of flat penetration, Rift Herald's going in. It does take some serious damage as it charges into the tower, not enough to actually finish the job, but H2K are feeling that they can go forward. They've run out of minions, unfortunately, and Cabochard, the cavalry's arriving. So once more, Vitality don't let H2K have a turret. Cabochard goes forward. Maybe he wishes he didn't for just a second, and Promisq swallows up Sheriff. The teleport's coming in now. It's 5 members in the mid. Jactroll gets pulled in by the Never Move, but H2K never want any of that.
H2K saw Vitality coming a long way in there with Cabochard, but Vitality aren't done yet. They're still escorting the minion wave all the way up to the turret because they know they can hit this because H2K are down pretty low at the moment.
Parallel convergence trying for the zone.
Whoa!
It goes in on Selfie, who has to flash away. Swallowed up by Promisq once more. And the Lamb's Respite. And everything comes down to try and keep H2K alive. And the tower will stand for now, but Vitality, bit by bit, chip damage.
Yeah, I mean, this is why Vitality is so much fun to watch, right? Because most teams in that situation say, okay, we have lane control and all these different minions. You know, we're going to go in and take away all the monsters in the jungle. We're going to take all their camps, really shut down Shook. Vitality say, no, we're going to dive the tower, bait out some ultimate cooldowns, get some damage down, and then go take those monsters and just get a little bit extra more.
Yeah, there are teams that take objectives to force fights, and there are teams that force fights to take objectives. Vitality certainly of the latter, and once again, the gold lead snowballing out of control. It's 3 towers to none, 6 kills to 1. And 5,500 gold ahead of H2K.
And 2,000 of that is in the top lane with Cabochard, 1,500 on Gilius. That's where all the plays happen for Vitality in the early game, which makes it even more impressive that Attila is up 35 CS over Sheriff at the moment, because he was the one getting ganked by Shook. Actually had that early death underneath the turret, but it never really hindered his ability to exercise dominance over Sheriff.
And this is what we were talking about with Shook, is we wanted to see him gank, not just in the mid lane, but just in general be a little more proactive. This is what he was able to do in spring when they made their roster swap, when H2K made perhaps the most impressive turnaround in LCS history. But it feels like that magic is kind of gone right now. H2K, it's not just the 0-6 that makes me say that. It's the fact that they just haven't been quite as proactive at actually making these early plays, and now they find themselves in such a big hole in terms of gold. It's hard to see them coming back in this, despite the fact that the damage control has certainly been something. It's certainly been at least somewhat effective for them.
It's really tough, and I sort of, you know, feel for Shook, especially in this game, because of course that level 1 was such a disaster for H2K. That's not necessarily his fault. That's a team-wide coordination effort that needed to be better to be able to shut that down. And after that, he was able to get 1 gank off. I think that's actually the best case scenario for him in a match like this. Unfortunately, it's just not enough with the proactivity we're seeing out of Vitality.
And just the sheer brutality. I mean, these guys, they just go in, they take what they want, they leave. I mean, there's no reason they shouldn't be confident because they are such a strong team. And Vitality are still making moves here, but it looks like H2K are trying to match. Cabochard find himself 3-manned under tower. Let's see if they can take him out. Oh, good bop in the barrel is going to knock Promisq back in, but he swallows up Shook for just a second. Cabochard still takes one down with them. Are you kidding me?
Oh my word, and Vitality have 3 members here in the bottom lane. They're getting an inner turret at the same exact time. This Gragas top is looking like an absolute menace, and Vitality are going to try to get some damage on this turret.
I know what I'm going to lock in next time I play solo queue. Ender, Vitality, they did get a couple of chip shots down, but yeah, Cabochard really making it worth and making H2K pay for that dive in the top. Selfie, he cannot defend this one. He has to hop away over the pillar. And Vitality take the 5th turret of the game.
It's a really tough position to be in because if you're H2K, you're looking for any small opening you can find top lane. You know, it looks good, right? You're going to get this shut down onto Cabochard, which is worth a lot of money, especially if you can get it onto someone like Sheriff or Shook, but then he trades 1 for 1. Not only that, but then bottom lane turret goes down, mid lane turret goes down. The domino effect is just not on their side.
All right, Ender, we're down a little on H2K right now. I want to bring it back and inject some positivity. There is a ray of sunshine Dustblade of Drakthar has been bought.
Yeah, see, I was going to say, Selfie hasn't died yet.
That's also true.
a good thing.
He's the only one who hasn't died yet, except for Jiizuke.
Yeah.
And Jactroll.
See, Selfie, oh no.
Uh-oh.
Okay, I was scared for a second. Like, every time Shook and Gilius show up on the same screen, it usually goes the favor of Gilius, but I like that you bring up Selfie because he's the player that we wanted to see step up on H2K, and he didn't get the support this game that we wanted necessarily to see out of Shook, but he's still been able to do well for himself and get to that first item. We're seeing the play up in the top lane as Promisq invite Shook on the Abyssal Voyage. How does Cabochard make this work? Because I think he just turns around and gets a double body slam, which stops Promisq from getting the Devour off initially. There's almost the one shot with that barrel. Fortunately, Promisq does get it off, but there's no ultimate there for Shook, and Cabochard's able to trade it.
Yeah, that's what happens. A new champion comes back into Promisq. You don't always remember the damage it can do. And speaking of damage, the full channel culling starting to come out here as H2K running for the hills. Sheriff nearly down the barrel, bops him sideways. Attila takes one, and it looks like Jiizuke is going to get another. And Vitality are not done just yet. Never move. Sheriff, how about never live? Jiizuke going in for him right now, but they don't even need that kill to try and turn this one on its head. 20 minutes in, and Vitality are knocking down the front door.
They're right inside H2K's base, and Vitality have a massive minion wave building in the bottom lane right now. They're going to look for more than just the one inhibitor. They're going for two.
They might be going for even more than that. Death timers may not be so long right now, but H2K just don't have enough power to try and defend against this push. One inhib falls, the tower's going to be taken. There's no reason Vitality should even be afraid, but at this point, they're going to play it safe, back off, don't take the other inhibitor right now. It is 10,000 gold in the lead at 20 minutes.
It has gotten a bit out of control, it seems like, in favor of Vitality, but that fight especially shows you just why I love this Gragas picked up against the Kindred, because there's 2 or 3 members of H2K corralled there inside the Lamb's Respite. Cabochard waits until the last second it wears off, bumps all 3 of them right back into the team, and makes it so tough for them to get anything done in the 5v5.
Speaking of so tough, he already has damage. Now he's building tank. He has a Spirit Visage now, in addition to his Giant Belt. Like, this guy is going to be a terror, and it just fits Cabochard's playstyle so well. Back in the day when he was known as this like carry-only player, top lane, years ago even, splits ago, he liked to play things like Lucian and stuff and just deal damage. Well, you know, now he's got a lane bully, a all-game bully.
So I think we have to talk about Promisq and Shook, I believe, just sitting up in that tri-brush.
Yeah, I knew you wanted to. I knew you wanted to talk about that, but I don't know what they're going to do.
It's a Baron steal. If you see right now, the control ward from Vitality is outside of the pit, so they assume there's no vision inside here. Now they know, and everything's spoiled as Cabochard's about to find him.
Face check. Oh, look.
Oh no.
Yikes. H2K, well, it was a nice plan, but unfortunately it didn't quite happen. Promisq is just getting pinballed around the map here, and, well, he's going down. The rest of Vitality find the frog in the brush, and if they want to take the Baron, it should be pretty easy here. Shook is still up. Could attempt a smite steal, but Cabochard's actually found him and is chasing him away.
Yeah, Cabo wins this. They're collapsing.
I mean, I think the rest of Vitality win this one. They don't even have to hit all their skill shots. He's going to flash the wall, but unfortunately he's going in the wrong direction. That tower in the top still standing. H2K haven't been able to pick one up this game, and that looked like overkill to me.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, because now there's no jungler for H2K. I guess Selfie
has a smite, so like there's still a chance.
Hey, and he can parkour over these walls. I'm ready for it.
All right, Selfie, you're going to be the hero. 8,000, 7,000, the Baron ticking down. Selfie, we're watching you on the minimap. Is he going to get a chance? Vitality, this is a very smart team. They don't take too many crazy chances when they know there's a chance it can get contested, but Selfie comes in a little bit too late and just waves goodbye to it.
And they cancel a TP above everything at the same time. H2K looks like they're maybe trying to go for a fight there, but I don't know, I feel like Selfie almost has to go for the steal at that point, because now Vitality are just going to be doing their victory laps. They've already got the inhibitor down in the mid lane. Top lane's the only, area of the map where there are still turrets left. It's going to be very easy for them to walk in with this Baron buff now, and H2K are going to be forced to try and make something happen.
Outpacing H2K every step of the way here, so here come the Baron-empowered minions. All 5 members of Vitality knocking on the top tower. Smittyj, Shook, and Promisq here to try and defend. You can see Sheriff waiting in the wings to see if he can maybe get a collapse on, but I don't know if they have the power to fight this one out. Let's see what the Swain can do. Gilius actually going around the side once again, so they split off for a second. Jiizuke might get caught. Here comes Sheriff. He's in his ultimate form, and Gilius, he might get caught up for just a second. H2K, can they finally turn this around? The shutdown onto Gilius, and it looks like H2K, they may have lost Sheriff, but they at least traded 1 for 1, and that's the best you can hope for in a situation like that.
They're still going to be going for this turret, though. Very low on that. And take it down. H2K, here we go.
Okay, the pinball. Promisq, he's taken down, out of there. Now Selfie jumping away from his own base, but H2K, they're not quite done yet. Let's see if Jiizuke and Cabochard can make their greatest save. Cabo has so much damage, and he just smacks down Shook. Meanwhile, though, Selfie gets an outplay on his opposite number.
It's just Selfie and Smittyj. They're actually still chasing down Cabo. Smittyj's got this.
Oh, he hops the wall. Let's see if he's going to try to juke out on the ukuleles. Still, though, we see Selfie. Let's see if he can take down Cabochard. Nowhere for him to go. Tries the wall. He gets it, but the rake shuts him down.
All right. It might be a little bit too late, but Selfie now has the kills under his belt. Got 3 shutdowns, but their base isn't looking so hot, Pyra.
I mean, they might be like just covered in lacerations, but put a Band-Aid on it if it helps you feel better, because H2K have stayed alive here, Ender. It would be one hell of a comeback if they turn this game, though.
I mean, Selfie, he's actually dead even now with Jiizuke in the gold off of all of those shutdowns. He's got some items under his belt, got double lethality working on that Black Cleaver as well, but it's really, really tough, and it's so impressive to see him making these team fights happen, because against 3 tanks, a Braum, and Ekko, it's almost impossible to get an assassination as this Talon, but Selfie did make it happen in that last fight.
Not to mention the crazy amount of CC that Vitality are actually packing. Yeah. We didn't really talk about it earlier on in the game, but like just about everybody on that team has a way to displace you in one way or another. So kudos for H2K for finding a fight, for staying alive. It is still a massive mountain to climb, and there is no time for rest. Teleport comes in for Cabochard. Baron is still on for another minute. Can H2K hold? Can they do the impossible? As the inhibitor comes back up, Selfie trying to collapse. Not flank this time. There goes the rake. They just want to fire them down, chip away at their health bars.
Vitality have 5 members in this space, but they're still giving a lot of respect over to H2K. They're very low range. It's only...
Cabo!
Okay.
Okay, not enough damage to make it happen, and fight is already going to be on, but Sheriff is targeted by the rest of the team, and the Braum is in the front. Jactroll holding the line against Smittyj, who goes golden, but Shook still firing some of those Talon cues his way. Let's see if Promisq gets the swallow on. And Sheriff, he's backed away for just a second. Round number 2, though. Vitality going back in, and Jiizuke jumping forward. He's going to go back, but Selfie's going to be able to pick up a kill. That's a kill. Attila down. H2K, can they turn this one? No, it's going to be Selfie taken out by Jiizuke. 4 versus 4 here, and the power is in Vitality's corner. A couple more shots of those minions is all it's going to take. The Baron has now been finished. Promisq gets another swallow up onto Sheriff, but they're low on those health bars. The inhibitor's finally going to fall. Jactroll going forward. Cabochard looking for another kill, and he's going to be able to find it onto Promisq. Sheriff, he's out in the open. As soon as that stopwatch goes, he flashes, tries to avoid the damage, but he's not got any left in the tank. It's a double kill for Cabo. There's no towers. It's only going to be Nexus here. And Cabo, he might be taking some shots, but it doesn't matter with Shook and Smittyj just not putting out enough damage, and that is going to be it. 26.5 minutes. They were bleeding. They were bruised. They were battered at the end, but Vitality asserting their dominance.
Man, it took him a long time on that last shove. I'll say that. And H2K tried holding on, but 26 minutes of gameplay, Vitality were 100% in the lead 100% of the time.
Yeah, H2K were set behind from the very beginning. They tried so many times to stop the bleeding, and they almost did it for a moment, but Vitality were just too strong.
Yeah, I mean, Selfie, who was trying to do it, so much work put from him in those team fights. I think Sheriff as well had some good flanks around, but if you look at Gilius' early game, Cabochard's play on this Gragas, that's where all the playmaking happened from Vitality, and they never relented, not once.
No, never giving up any moments of pressure, never allowing H2K a moment to breathe. The only respite they got was the Lambs, and that didn't really help them once Cabochard comes in with the ultimate.
Yeah, and Cabochard did by far the most damage in that game, 5,000 more than anyone else. That is a little bit ridiculous there.
So you're wondering what to ban these days in solo queue? I think you found your answer.
See, I'm so glad, too, because I was like, I really feel like Gragas is going to show up as a top lane pick, and then in our very first game,
you said jungle, dude.
No, I was talking about top lane.
Oh, I see. It sounds like a little revisionist history, if you ask me.
Okay, Pyra. You believe what you want to believe, but it looks good, and we're going to see more of it.
That was great. I love that we got to see the mid lane smite coming in for not just one, but both teams as well. So clearly some new and interesting changes coming along with patch 8.13.
And it shows that there's definitely counterplay to the strategy of taking smite at level 1. If you have a Braum and a Trundle and all these other strong level 1 champions on your team, just invade them, steal their camps away, and completely blow up their path.
So I got a question. Speaking of level 1 invades, do we maybe get to see like Blitzcrank come back?
I don't think so. I don't think you pick for the level 1 invade, and I think actually Braum is probably a better level 1 champion than the Blitzcrank because of his ability to lay down so much CC as we saw in this match.
Yeah, I mean, credit to Jactroll. The entire Vitality team did very well this time around. Even Jiizuke, who we've talked about is maybe underperforming a little bit this split. The team hasn't necessarily relied on him for damage, but despite that, he stepped up. Selfie was able to put the hurt on him a couple of times. It just wasn't enough to keep H2K in this game.
Yeah, Selfie was never able to find a solo kill, and that's what mattered. Jiizuke pretty much permanently had control over that mid lane because of what happened at the level 1. And
speaking of level 1.
Yeah, this is it, because Vitality walked right in. Selfie's trying to take the Raptor camp for himself. Unfortunately, Vitality are just stronger at this point in the game, and all the smites go their way. That means they have 2 level 2 champions, and H2K have none actually entering into the lane phase.
Yeah, and H2K just kind of backed off at this point. They give it away because there's really not a whole lot else they can do. They try for a second to maybe go forward, and then the moment Promisq flashes, guys, I think we lost this level 1.
Yeah, and then Gilius just continues destroying the top lane. 2 ganks onto Smittyj. Very, very nicely done, and the snowball never ended from there, because once they got those few kills, got that first turn in the top lane, it was all about grouping up and forcing fights all across the map.
Yep, here was another one of those fights. Promisq being fired down while Gilius finds Shook on the opposite side. The double teleports coming in, and some of these were a little bit messy. Admittedly, Cabochard, you think he's in trouble. Wait a second, he's got damage.
and this replay, all I care about is the Tiamat proc from Gilius at the very end of this, because you see he does so much work there onto Shook at the start of the fight, finally gets back in on the end, and then this double Tiamat onto Promisq and Sheriff.
Wait for it.
It's a big one. Boop.
That's
double
disgusting.
Kill. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, Vitality were styling a little bit towards the end of that one. Have to give them some credit, but you know they improved their record once again after you know a swingy couple of weeks. 2-0, 0-2, 2-0. Well, they've broken the streak. Maybe we'll see another 2-0 then.
Hopefully, that's the hope for them. They got a lot of the tough teams away at the start, those top teams in the league, and now they should have a little bit of an easier go, but still got to make sure they get every single win, because it really counts in that playoff race.
Certainly does. Now, we also want to hear from you guys at home, your player of the game choice. Check out the Twitter poll at LL Esports, and your options for this one are Cabochard, Jactroll, and Gilius. Now, normally I say it's a little bit hard, but I got to give it to Cabo, man. Like, he was bopping people.
Cabo was all over the place with those barrels. Gilius, too, had a really big impact in that game, so it's anyone's vote.
That's fair. You guys can decide. Now, tickets for the summer finals in Madrid are now available at eu.lolesports.com, so be sure to head over there and get your tickets for the event. We want to see you there. Now, coming up next, we're going to be joined